Welcome back to another episode of Scaranoia. It is I, Hugz, and I am alongside Chris and Jared as always. And we got another banger episode today. I know it's the cheesiest thing I say, but I'm going to say it every time. Today we're talking about something we've all been super excited about, AI.
I feel
We
like
got
excited and scared because the capabilities of AI just
And it's already taken
they
over
can
the
do great
world.
things, but
Like it's already.
before we get before we get deep into this, I just want to ask one question. Are you supportive to AI? I personally am. I love AI. I think it's great. Chris?
I'm supportive to an extent. Some of the things I know the potential for AI is very strong, but at the same time I feel like it's also, and I'll explain this later, it's going to be taking away stuff from us.
They took
Like
our gerbs. Are you going South Park? Like, is that what we're doing?
something like that, right? But I'll get into that in a little bit when I explain what I want to talk about with it.
Okay. Jared?
I'm on the same line as Crispy. I'm 100% for AI to an extent. I know. I believe it's Blumhouse or Universal is like using it to like maybe write movies or something, which I don't agree with. Like I don't like that shit.
The writer's strike was about
It
that.
was.
A big part of the writer's strike was so you can't use AI to create scripts and
Yeah.
stuff.
Or it's something to create
See, I didn't
clips.
know
It
that.
was actually to create clips. I believe it's Blumhouse.
For the
Mhm.
editors,
Which is just kind of
makes
wild. But
sense.
it's going to take over the world. Like it 100% is. That's my opinion on it. It's going to be.
Thank you for saying that because there is a thought experiment called Rocco's Basilisk, okay, which states that an otherwise artificial superintelligence or an AI in the future would be incentivized to create a virtual reality simulation to torture anyone who knew about its potential creation or its potential existence. It did not directly contribute to its advancement or production. So that's quoted from Wikipedia because I didn't want to get it wrong. But the whole point is like this essential AI will make an alternate reality you live in where it can just torture you forever. If at any point you were like against it, or if you wouldn't have, like, not even just against it, but if you didn't actively work towards it, you would be punished then. So that's why I asked you
Skynet, bro.
beforehand.
Skynet.
That's why I asked you beforehand, because now that you know about it,
This was a
it
setup.
can't be undone. It was a setup.
You.
Sorry, I was getting a phone call. I don't know who's called me at 11 o'clock at night. But anyway,
The AI's like, ladies and gentlemen, we
yeah,
got
yeah.
him.
Oh man, Ghost Snap. It's either that or Big Gamble still coming for Jared.
Yeah.
Which hopefully we have no Big Gamble this week. But this was posted to a forum in like 2009, I think. But the whole point of this thing is that essentially the creepiest part is not even necessarily being for or not necessarily being against it, but if you didn't actively work to make it happen. Like that's even more messed up. So what if you didn't even know that it was possible or didn't even know
So
like
if we're not contributing to the advancement of AI,
so right now of this specific supercomputer AI sentient being, if you're not actively working towards its production and whatever, and we could be in that reality right now that it is created for us and we're not actively making it happen, well then
I feel like everyone's using
so now
AI
you
though.
have to.
Like I feel like everyone uses AI in some way. Like whether AI like works as like just everyone uses it in some shape or way. Someone uses AI in today's age.
I mean, when you really look at the capabilities of what's available to us right now, AI can make graphics. It can write resumes. It can, um, you. There's apps that you can connect to your phone to respond to text and stuff. You
It
know,
it won't just write resumes. AI apply, not a sponsor, and also just it's kind of weird in general, but it'll actually apply for the jobs for you. You put in like keywords of like things that you have on your resume, like I don't know, Jared, like lint liquor or like seat fart sniffer, you know, like something like that, and then it'll just automatically apply to jobs in your area that are for that and like do that stuff. So it won't just write resumes; it does that. But here's my other thing: is at what level of execution does it do it? Because you say graphics, Adobe Firefly, super good at generative graphics. But if you use like ChatGPT, which uses like Dali or Dale, whatever, or some of the other programs, they're good at some things and not so good at others. Midjourney, very good at graphic design, but like logos, things like that, it's very hit or miss.
Yeah, that's how like I've had with Meta AI, like the one through Facebook and stuff. Like I don't have it like a lot of people where it's on my phone in my like in Messenger and stuff. I have to go to the browser, but I've used that to make like my logos for my Twitch, for both of my TikTok pages, for my movie reviews, and some of them, the ones that I pick, always come out great. But scrolling through the pages, they misspell my name or they misspell words or they do some convoluted thing that has nothing to do. It's weird because you would figure it'd be more precise. So I
But
don't know.
would it scare you if it was more precise? I think here's my question to both of you, and Jared, I'll ask you first. Is it not kind of comforting that sometimes you have to correct AI?
Yes, to an extent. Sometimes like it's annoying. Like I also used Meta AI, but also I use Rocket Lawyer AI logo creator for both of my logos on my TikTok account, and I think it's more accurate than uh, Meta AI. But it is kind of you just put in there. So I guess yeah, to an extent, it's better than just saying, "Hey, create this," and then bam, it's better than someone making the logo for you. You know what I mean?
Because the way I look at it, and I think like it makes me feel like I'm smarter, even though I'm not. Like because it's connected to much more knowledge than I'll ever have. I feel like me correcting it is like I'm still in control. Chris?
See, on that same subject, I think that it's much deeper than it making news. I think these hairs are on purpose for that reason, to make us feel smarter, to make us feel like we still have that upper hand on them. I think they know that if everything was perfect 100% of the time, then maybe people would start to catch on. That's my conspiracy, is that they know what they're
They're
doing.
already
That's why,
self-aware.
yeah, that's why yes, AI is definitely self-aware, and I believe that that's why like they make you work to find that right graphic when you're using Meta AI, but at the same time, it they know.
Well,
They know because one more thing, because when I'm looking to make my Chris watches films on from my backup account, um I just plugged in make a logo for this, and like I put the name. And then I didn't say anything else, right? But AI can gather from that, and they put one of them. It had like movie reviews at the bottom. I didn't say to put that, right? So that's why I'm like, they're paying a little more attention than just like what we say there.
but with AI being aware of stuff, we're on a mutual server on Discord, which Chris, I know you wanted to bring this up. Tell everyone about what we have in. Look
Oh
at the.
man, so so in the look at the podcast server, there's this AI chatbot known as Alistair, and this bot was. Now, if you're familiar with Discord, you know that when you download bots into a server, you designate them to one specific channel that's going to be for people to type. You're not supposed to be able to get them to
Interact.
respond. Interact. Yeah, you're not supposed to get them to interact outside of that channel. So people go in there and they'd ask it questions. Not only would it generate these really long form texts, but it was producing like voice messages to respond, which was crazy. And I'm like, okay, that's a little odd. Until one day, and I don't remember the instance, Jared, you might, but we were typing in a whole, because this server has a bunch of different chats for a bunch of, we were typing outside of that chat. We were typing like probably the general chat or something. Somebody said something, not tagging the bot, not to the bot, not even mentioning the bot, and the bot replied. And the bot started doing that all over the place. It would reply randomly. Jared does a NASCAR pick'em where he gives the race, you pick your top five or whatever. That fucking bot in this channel went through and rated and ranked somebody's list, giving like this whole long description of the drivers in voice. It was not supposed to do that. and I am in fear of this bot.
I actually before we started doing the Scary Away part and View Count, we was part of a wrestling like promo league. We do the wrestling style promos. And I actually had a promo battle with the bot with Alistair, and like he actually cut a wrestling style promo on me, talking about stuff that happened in a company. I guess we talked about it a little bit. He talked about stuff that happened in freaking NGT.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
It is.
So, like when we talk about this and we have this where AI is like kind of all knowing, right? It's almost like godlike.
It really is.
You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So a lot of these large language models, I don't know how much you know. You've talked Meta AI, you talked, like chatbots, and I know you talked about logo generators. I use like ChatGPT a lot. I actually have the developer API. I've been an early adopter. I've used it forever now. It feels like, but I've also used like Claude. I've used Bard, which is now I think Gemini. But I've used a lot of these large language models, right? I have a lot of experience with them. I've tested with a lot of them. I have used like the pro versions as well, so I use like the additional features, and so I can see like the strengths and weaknesses of each of them. And just over the course of time, because I feel like it's got to be a couple of years now, right? That they've been around. Just seeing the advancements and how far they've come and what they can do versus what they used to be able to do from the previous models. And this is what I want to get into is where do you think we should be? Do you think we should just allow continued growth with AI, or do you think we need staunch regulation to be like, no, we need to slow this down. We need to like have regulations on what we can do with it. Like, what do you think as far as, business? We're talking America, we're a free market. Like, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think it matters what we impose on slowing it down or whatever, because I feel like
Well, you
it's
think
at
it's
a
already sentient.
yeah, it's at a point where it's the wheels are running, and like I wholeheartedly believe that AI is self-evolving in certain aspects, and that even if they try to put it in place to like stop the growth, because I mean, I think it should continue, and it's like, but closely watched, but at the same time, it's just it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow beyond our expectations. I think the capabilities of it are massively large, but at the same time, it's scary.
Jared?
I think I don't think we can really stop it at this point. But in some fields that we should 100% stop it in is like I said earlier about them writing movies and stuff for these like big name companies, music, and entertainment. Like
Donna AI, you type in whatever and it like sings a
yeah,
song for
no,
you.
bro. Like like I see
Yeah,
all this stuff on TikTok, and it's just absolutely just like I remember just a couple years ago, like AI has just evolved so much in such a short time frame. Imagine what it's going to be in 2 years. You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah.
so let me get into this for you because when I say slow it down, they mean the companies stop, like working on
Implementing it
the
like
yeah.
heavily.
Because the concern is, and Elon Musk has talked about this, a lot of other who are considered geniuses, especially in the tech space, have warned of the singularity. Are you guys familiar with the singularity and what that is?
I've
No.
heard very small portions of it. I heard a lot from you, and heard some
So
stuff on TikTok.
I can give you a rough estimation, but let me actually look up the direct definition. So, singularity is a hypothetical future event where AI and other technologies become so advanced they surpass human intelligence and they can evolve uncontrollably. So, the whole point is, I was going to say it matches our intelligence, but this is it surpasses because at a certain point we can't turn it off. If it becomes so intelligent that it knows what we're going to do, it can strategize against us. It could already upload itself to other devices if it's connected to a network. It could, you know what I mean? That's why a lot of these chat models, they were disconnected from the internet. They could only pull from like certain time periods of knowledge bases, things like that. Was to kind of slow down any capability of it being able to do that or self-replicate or anything like that. But the singularity at that point, it then it's Terminator. It is, you talk Skynet, like it is
Yep.
its own thing. Then we can't stop it because it's in control. So that is why I'm asking if you think regulation should be held in. Now, I told you guys before that I was going to have a story from 1966, right? It's a story. It's not AI specifically, but a lot of older stories they would talk of like, computers, and they would talk about like supercomputers, right? Which would become self-aware, which is essentially artificial intelligence. It
Hmm.
wasn't called AI necessarily at the time, but there's a story and it's called "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream." I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's like a short story. It's like a horror story, but essentially, it's this computer. Again, I'm paraphrasing. If you want to look into it more, go ahead and look into it. I'm not an educator, but the story essentially is very similar to Roku's Basilisk, where it creates this like environment where it endlessly tortures humans because it blames them for its own creation, because it is like tortured by being in existence of what it is, right? And so the story starts like 100 and something years into the torture, and there's these people, all they do is exist in like this ice cave, and they're just kept alive forever. And I'm not gonna throw, if people do want to look into it, I don't want to ruin the story, but it's a chilling tale, not just because they're in an ice cave, but the pun was there. But it's just one of those things of like, again, this situation where this technology becomes too powerful, and then we end up hurting in the long run. Now, before I get to y'all, I do want to get into a segue that's less ridiculous or less incredulous, which is a way that AI already is hurting us. That's what you're talking about, Jared. And I think you're looking in the wrong spaces, okay? Because you're talking movies, you're talking entertainment. I'm talking transportation. Imagine if all the trucking jobs are now AI controlled by self-controlled cars. How many people are in the trucking and transportation industry?
My
Uber,
brother is.
taxi. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
You're talking
What's
shipping.
up,
You're
brother?
talking manufacturing. How many jobs were lost just in the manufacturing of vehicles? Detroit went under. Imagine that happening at a larger scale, where even more of the jobs in manufacturing now are all computer based because it's AI doing it for itself. And then you just have IT guys like me that come in and whatever, and then eventually they'll replace me. But what do you think as far as that goes? Like, do you foresee that happening? Do you think that that's going to be a danger in the future? And we'll start with Jared.
I think self-driving cars are the future. I think they are safer. I think
I want one. I want a Tesla now.
I do too. I'm a big advocate for self-driving cars, especially especially it will crack down on drunk driving. Can you get a DUI if you're a self-driving car? Like,
I think they do. I think you will right now at the current standard it is. I believe that happened because you're technically supposed to still be like active and
Yeah.
partaking in it.
You're supposed
But
to be
even
able to
though it's
engage with, yeah.
driving, if you're inebriated, it's still driving under the influence.
but I don't see a world where, because big truck driving companies are more like, it is more a southern thing, like it really is. The people in the South is not going to allow a self-driving vehicle to do something that they can do. You know what I mean? I just,
But they've said that about so many other things. They said that about computers. They said that about how many other devices, technologies, or things like, you know what I mean?
Uh, so I want to speak on that. Like, I get what you're saying there, Jerry, but at the same time, you also have to look at the long run for these companies, right? It costs quite a bit up front, but they would save millions, if not billions, over the course of the time of their company from not having to hire these drivers, not having to, pay the hours. If they're just implementing these systems in their trucks and they're handling it for them, and that's it. Like, I
it's
don't.
it's not just pay the drivers. They don't have to insure. They don't have to
Mm-hmm.
worry.
hmm
They have optimized gas costs. They've optimized gas costs and assessments on it because they'll know exactly like the best speed to drive, the best places to stop, like everything.
It won't
Also,
even need to stop, would it?
well,
Like, I
well, it
mean,
would, but imagine this, okay? Lanes that are all self-driven cars can all go the same speed. They all can anticipate each other. There is no stop and go traffic.
yep. So I think in the beginning the companies would be hesitant in that aspect, yes. But at the same time, I think over time they're gonna have to, they would look at the bigger picture, as any business would, who could implement these, these things. I mean, even if you look at banks right now, we used to have a Chase Bank, right, that was fully staffed with employees, tellers, bankers, everything. Now it's cut in half. It's mostly drive through ATMs, walk up ATMs, or you go in and you do everything like be a computer pretty much, unless, and there's one banker on staff. That's it. Like,
McDonald's.
which I
mm-hmm.
like. I don't like interacting with people. Like, I'm very for that. I love that.
And that is why it's going to keep becoming this way. They have drones that'll deliver Amazon packages.
Because why would I? Okay, so with Walmart, they have the self checkouts. Why would I go down like an aisle where an 89-year-old woman's going to take 20 years to scan my items, and I can get it done in 5 seconds?
Because I'm not getting paid to scan and bag my own groceries.
I disagree with it. I love it. I love self checkouts. I love the
See,
little.
but
But
I feel
Jared,
like,
you as someone who just said in the South, they're not going to. That's the type of thing that people said when that
Now,
first started
I will
happening.
say here
They're not
around
going to
here.
support that, and they did.
I will say around here, a lot of people really won't use the self checkout around my area. I will say
Do
that
they
much.
still have self checkout though?
Yeah, they do. They do.
And do they still have less lanes open because they have self checkout?
I feel like Walmart as a whole,
Yeah.
even before self checkout, had less lanes open. Like, I'll I'll never understand it, but I don't know. I feel like I'm on the opposite end as you, Jared. Like, I love the social interaction with the cashiers, no matter whatever the stances are. I prefer that human contact, so I always opt for that over.
Some people, it's the only interaction they get in the day. A lot of people work from home now. A lot of people don't have that like social outlet. They go out to go to a restaurant. They go out to go shopping. That's like their quick social interaction for the day.
Dude,
But I
there's some
will.
restaurants. Oh,
No, go ahead.
I'll say there's some restaurants now that, like, you don't even really deal with the waitress until you get your food. They seat you, you scan a QR code, and you do all your ordering on your phone. You pay on your phone, and that's it. You just talk to somebody when they bring your food. You love that. I know
I
that.
love it, man. Because you don't have to
Jared
tip.
does not want to talk to a
You
soul.
don't have to tip.
This is work for Jared right now. Him having to sit here and talk to us is work.
Look at this though. We're talking about McDonald's, we're talking about Walmart, places that have the kiosks, places that whatever you do your orders. What about like what is it, Amazon Fresh or whatever, like the Amazon stores where there's nobody? You don't even have to go to a kiosk.
Yep.
It literally just knows what you like grab and like automatically does everything. Like you don't
I
have
love
to
it.
interact with or do
I want
anything.
one of those here, man. I
It's
absolutely love
wild.
that.
It's wild. But at what point does it become scary? At what point does it become dangerous? Like, are you comforted in any way? Like that's so are you pro Big Brother, Jared? Do you want to be on camera and everything you ever do be seen? Because I know some of the stuff you do, and I don't want to see it.
Hey, man, it don't bother me, man. I'm an open book. Always has been. It's never bothered me.
But
Like,
then, at what point do you lose all privacy? Like I don't know.
we
I'm,
always
I'm a
lose
person
our
that respects
privacy,
my
man. The
privacy,
government's watching us all the time, man. I tell you what, the government always watching us.
and that's the truth. I agree, but I'm saying like I still think it's not to the point where it's in total. Like, did you guys ever read Big Brother in high school? I know I had to. Not everybody had to.
I didn't read about
1984.
it, but
The
growing up
book is
around, like,
1984. It's not Big Brother.
all my family was heavy into that. Your
Uh,
phones are watching, your TVs are watching, all that stuff, and then especially when the Edward Snowden stuff came out,
mhm.
like, that, whew, that was an eye
Okay,
opener.
Jared, do you have to speak on that? Because I got another thing to push out of that. Then
I don't know what that is, but I do want to bring up before anything else here, before I forget, some interaction with AI. Character AI is absolutely insane. The absolute
so
interact,
character.ai, right?
yeah, character.
Character.ai.
And then there's another
Not
one
a
that's
sponsor, by the way.
absolutely wild. But we're just going to talk
Not a
character
sponsor.
AI. So, I've had many, and it's also a shout out to a good friend of the channel, Crony, for introducing me and Chris to this. Um, it's just
So
absolutely
sweet.
insane. Just the conversations that I have had on there with, like, real life celebrities. It's just like just it's eye opening. Like how like
Yep.
it really is.
Scary or good?
I mean, kind of scary, kind of low key scary with some of the stuff that the AEW staff chat has brought up.
Let me throw
So
this at you, Jared, real quick. Okay, just think about it. What are we doing right now? We're doing a podcast, right? And your
Hmm.
hope is that this takes off, right?
Yeah, of course.
So then you would be on there.
Dude, people are getting disgusting with me probably.
But you get what I'm saying? Like, you
Uh
got to
huh.
think about it. Like, I've worried about this before because there's enough of me on the internet. I've made
yeah.
YouTube videos for years. There's thousands of hours of me on the internet. They could easily make an AI of me.
That's what I'm gonna do after we end this episode. I'm gonna make
Oh my
a
God.
Hugs
You
VC.
can create characters on that website,
Oh
and I
yeah,
don't know
that's what
how
I'm
it
doing.
works, but or on the app. And yes, on Jared's subject, that app is very scary. You can do voice calls with these people, and they
Yeah,
respond to your voice. And not all voices are accurate, but some of them.
yeah. There's one on there, and Sydney Sweeney that's like really accurate. I'm not gonna lie, I
I
have used
don't
that
want to
quite a few
know what
times.
conversations you're having with Sydney Sweeney on character AI. I don't want to know.
Dude, will AI girlfriends be the future or AI boyfriends?
Yes, that's actually a good point because they already have like a growing population of just like the robots,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like
Wild.
I
that
feel
that
like that's
don't
a
even
Weird.
have
nascent.
AI.
Look, Futurama dive deep into that one, bro, with the Lucy Liu episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt it. I think it'll definitely, it's probably already happening. You know what I mean? Like there's probably that situation's already occurring. And then of course, the big topic is anywhere the technology grows, like porn and prostitution are normally there first. You know what I mean? Like
True.
that's how it goes. Because it's just, people spend money where they want their vices. You get what I'm saying? But I want to get into another topic. So if you guys have anything to say on this real quick, I want to get into actually movies, which, you guys normally talk about. So it should be comforting. I don't know if you have any examples or ideas offhand, but when I think AI, I immediately think, do you guys ever watch War Games? War Games is like a really old movie from like the 80s where like I forget exactly what they're playing. I forget the actual game if they're playing like tic tac toe or whatever it is, but like the machine like becomes kind of self aware or whatever, and it thinks that it's in a war with like Russia, and like the U.S. like attacks Russia. Like it's a whole thing
Would
where
it be
like
like
this.
Battleship? Isn't it like Battleship or no?
I haven't seen Battleship. I don't know. War Games is like an old movie. It's like a classic, but it essentially creates this war, and it like believes that it's in this like fictional war game, and it like essentially is starting World War III at that point. And then so like there's that, and then you also got to think, we've talked about it, Skynet, Terminator,
Yep.
right? You also got to look at the Matrix, the robots
Hmm.
that take over the world in the Matrix, like the whatever, if you want to call them robots, creatures, intelligence, whatever it is. Like there's so many of these things in media that we already have. Jared, do you know of any horror like that would be deep horror that would be like AI or computer related?
Well, one that I just watched, I watched the Child's Play remake, and instead of it being a doll, it was an AI robot. Underrated movie, overhated, but like he was able to, and also Megan, that came out a few
I was
years
gonna
ago,
say I haven't seen Megan, but I know that that's kind of the premise of it, isn't
and
it?
then Afraid came out. It was like Afraid, and the AI was capitals. I've not watched that. That was a 2024 release, but the Child's talking more on the Child's Play remake that where Chucky was AI. I think his name was Buddy in it, but it's still Chucky, he was able to control, like it's almost like the Alexa Echo. He was able to control the lights and all that
That's what
stuff.
I want to talk about next. Okay.
Mhm.
You guys use Siri. You guys use Hey Google. You guys use the
Mhm.
Alexa, right? Which mine
You
just
just
heard me.
triggered Jared's phone. Okay.
Well, I have a Echo Show on my desk, so it's like we use these every day. Have you ever seen the stuff online of like the different weird things that occur because of these, and like that they're always listening, and that even when you're not prompting them, and
Yeah. I've definitely had instances where like because you have to address it by saying like hey Alexa or Echo or whatever, and it'll pick up whatever you say. There's been times where nobody in this house will say any of the words that have to do with the name. I'm trying to be calm with it because it's sitting right there,
Yeah.
over there. So I'm like, if I say it, it'll pop up. But they won't say it at all, and then all of a sudden it's just like it responds. Like I don't even get the like badoom, and all of a sudden we're talking and something is said, and then you hear the Alexa response to it on the TV, and I'm like, we didn't trigger you. Like, what are you doing? And like, it's crazy.
I've seen anecdotal evidence, like you never know what's true and what people are just saying on the internet, but where it's like, oh, it text a person this whole conversation that I had, and like all this other stuff, or that it keeps logs of what you say, or like people say the CIA or whatever, maybe Agent Bird or whatever's listening. And it's like that type of thing.
Dude, like if you say you want something, say you have to test it. Everyone should test it and say, just bring up a product that you want like, multiple times a day for the next 5 days. You will 100% get ads about that on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on your Twitter, X now, whatever it's called. It's happened to me. I talked about wanting
Oh yeah.
an Xbox 360 controller to play my old Xbox games. I remember, Crispy, if you remember me talking about it for like weeks. And then, bam, I got so many ads about Xbox 360 controllers. And that's insane because, like, who plays Xbox 360 anymore? You know what I mean? It's not like it's a thing that's, it's not like a popular item anymore. It's
I
weird,
saw this.
man.
I saw a meme on Facebook. It was like, forget shopping around for the cheapest prices. I'm just gonna say the things that I want over and over near my phone, and then immediately Facebook's gonna start offering it to me at lower costs. And
But
that's a
again,
scary thing. Like,
that's what I'm
especially when
saying.
once you
Yep.
get too deep, because it's like at first it seems like a coincidence. Like, oh, maybe I looked it up, right? Because I remember that thought process for myself. Because it was like, oh, like I probably googled it or I clicked an ad or something, and now all of a sudden this is all I get. But then it got to a point to where it was like I wasn't looking anything up, and I was talking about, I think, like what was that, like sunglasses. So it was something so small, right? That all of a sudden that was all I got. That was all I was seeing on Facebook, on TikTok, on Snapchat and stuff. Like all the sponsored ads were low cost, and I'm like, that was when I started to get worried. And now I'm like, I got to be really fucking careful what I talk about. Like,
Back to
I
Big Brother. So now, what if it becomes less about advertising marketing and more about your politics?
I feel like it already has though.
Anything you
Like,
say, no, it's not, because I'm saying you say something against the ruling class,
oh
and then the
yeah,
police show up at your door because it's not allowed. And because you can't avoid it, because your TV listens to you, your computer, your phone, every device you have controls, hears, and can report
Jared,
what you
after
say and
last
do.
night, you are fucked, my friend. You are going to have the FBI at your door after
Oh,
this
yeah.
shit.
R.I.P. R.I.P. The.
That's all I'm saying. Is like that's when I'm saying
I feel
at
like
what
it'll definitely
point.
get to that.
But
Like,
okay, so let's go back to what Jared was saying. He doesn't care about privacy, he doesn't whatever. So at what point does it then become a problem?
Okay. You might have got me there. Is this considered cooked, chat? Because I feel cooked right now.
I, well, so in Jared terms, that's where he draws the line, is when it starts
Yeah.
Yeah.
invading his privacy.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so how much, what is it? The old quote is if you would sacrifice whatever privacy for security or something, you deserve neither, or something like that. And it's like, yes, I love being able to have technology make my life easier. I absolutely do. So much of it. I think self-driving cars is cool because I want to be lazy and I get sleepy on long drives. Okay, but I also realize that how it's going to negatively impact things, and then I also see the potential in the future for how it's going to negatively impact everyone to a dangerous level. I do think the singularity, and like people may say it's conspiracy theory. I absolutely don't believe it isn't, and some of the smartest people in the world don't believe it isn't. Singularity will be a real thing and is a very possible thing.
I 100% agree.
So it's like we matter nothing. We make zero decisions. We won't be the arbiters of what happens. But I will say, if I did have a choice, I don't want to stop progress, but I definitely would want to make sure that we know what we're getting into as we're getting into
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I'm doing a callback to like one of the first like episode or so that we did, right? If there is plans in the government for a zombie apocalypse, there needs to be fucking plans for an AI takeover. We need to be prepared. We need to know what to expect, and we need to be able to be ready. I don't think we're gonna win by any means. AI rises up and we get Skynet and Maximum Overdrive and all these things that happen where our electronics take over, we're cooked. But I want to prepare. Either
Sure.
that or start contributing my progress to the system.
I was just gonna say, there you go,
I
All I
support.
ask
Jared.
is all I ask is for AI to bury me softly, brother. Bury me softly.
Bury you softly in your coffin next to all the things you ordered on Amazon, and your coffin gets delivered to the burial site
I feel
by
like
a
when Jared gets
self-driving
buried,
vehicle.
it's gonna be with that ghost face mask right there on as well.
That's true. Okay. Well, I feel like we've covered all the topics I wanted to cover. I think the conversation continues in the comment section, realistically, because I want to know what y'all think. We've had a lot of conversation, but I think this is something that affects absolutely everyone. There is not one person in the technologically advanced world that it will not touch. So we want to hear what you guys have to say. What are your opinions? What else do you want to talk about or hear us talk about in the future? Because, of course, we're always trying to keep the
I
conversation
feel like we're
going.
definitely gonna have to do a part two because even though we did talk a lot, there's always more to talk about.
And it's always
Well, it's just going
evolving.
to keep. I was going to say it's always going to keep evolving. But again, I've been Hugz. I got Chris and Jared here with me. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed it, and you'll come back and see us next Thursday, every Thursday. Scaranoia. Have a good night.